What is up, guys? This is Mateo's 2020 Politics here, and today I will be discussing Elizabeth Warren for some unknown reason refusing to endorse Bernie Sanders for president. So, this is kind of an exciting topic, but also a topic I'm passionate about, because we all know that Elizabeth Warren was the second, third, fourth most progressive candidate in the race. Not the first, but she was definitely in the top five. But her progressiveness doesn't really prove that. For example, she supported the Iraq War, she voted for Ben Carson to be in the Trump administration, she voted with Donald Trump to increase the military budget, and she declined to endorse Bernie Sanders in 2016 for the presidency. She endorsed Hillary Clinton instead. So, her record's pretty mediocre, but you could say she's changed over time, she's had character development, you can forgive her. And to that, I would say, you're making a valid point. I would forgive her. But the fact that she just refuses to endorse Bernie Sanders for president is, this time around, is just making me lose my trust for her. Because, look, throughout the 2020 election cycle, she was overall progressive, but she kind of had trouble, and it's not her fault, anybody would have trouble with this, kind of differentiating herself from the field. So she kind of was trying to fit in this, I'm not a progressive, I'm not a centrist, I'm not a moderate, I'm in between a progressive and a moderate lane. She was trying to fit in that lane. It's kind of difficult to fit herself in it. And it isn't really her fault, but that didn't really work out for her. But throughout the presidential campaign, throughout the course of it, I've begun to lose my trust with her. For example, she claimed that Bernie Sanders said women can be president, which is obviously something Bernie would just never say in his whole life. And this backfired because right after Elizabeth Warren said this, I don't know if she did on purpose or if it was taken out of context what Bernie said, but either way, she said this because she wanted to get her support up. But it backfired. She went down in the polls and she never recovered because of that, and that might be the reason why her campaign failed at the end of the day, because once again, her polling numbers just went down. And she never recovered, and she dropped out just about a month or two later. So, if you drop out and you're a progressive, shouldn't you endorse the other progressive? Look, Elizabeth Warren, I thought you were progressive. Why aren't you endorsing Bernie Sanders for president? It should be a no-brainer after all. Once again, if you are a progressive, you drop out of the presidential race. You endorse the other progressive in the presidential race. I'm not saying you have to. It's not mandatory, but it's just common sense. I know this might sound kind of harsh, but she's kind of lost her credibility with the left. Because, once again, with her record, you could say, oh, I forgive you, you've had character development, everybody changes, everybody has one flaw within their political career. Although she was only in Congress, she has only been in politics for about 8 years. She's going on her second term for the Senate. So, you could forgive her and say, okay, you're actually progressive now, you've changed. To that, I'd still be a bit skeptical of her, but I'd still trust her. But then, she claims Bernie Sanders said women can't be president of the United States. She drops out and refuses to endorse Bernie Sanders. And this is a bit less, known, but she split the vote with Bernie during Super Tuesday. Take Warren out the race, her support would have gotten Bernie, who would have won Massachusetts, Maine, and Minnesota. But she just acted as a bit of a spoiler. She caused Joe Biden to win Super Tuesday, and if it weren't for her, Bernie could have actually won it pretty handily. I don't know if it would have been a huge win or plurality, but either way, he would have done well if it weren't for her. So, I don't know, man. This is a very interesting story, because once again, if you're a progressive, just endorse the other progressive. But for some unknown reason, she is endorsing him. I don't know when she's going to endorse him. I don't know if she ever will be. I don't know if she's going to she might even end up pulling a 2016 Warren move, which means don't endorse anybody in the primaries, don't endorse Bernie in the primaries, wait until the general election, wait until then, and you endorse the centrist nominee, which doesn't make sense. I get that you want to vote blue for your Democrat, vote red for your Republican, but at the end of the day, it's not like, oh, you know what, I have to vote for the lesser of the two evils. I have to vote for one of the evils. No, you don't have to. You don't have to vote at all. You could vote third party, write in somebody's name. Because right now, I don't really like Joe Biden. If he wins a nomination, I don't think I'll support him. If I could vote, I might just vote third party. I might write in Bernie's name, but that is kind of extreme. So, in reality, it's not like you have to, go blue. It's not like you have to go, run fully alongside with your own party. You don't have to be, super partisan, hyper-partisan. But Warren doesn't get it because she just isn't endorsing Bernie. She didn't do it in 2016. She endorsed Hillary in the general election. So she might be just doing the whole "I will support the nominee no matter what" move. But then also, it once again takes her credibility away from the progressives, because it makes you wonder if she's really progressive, because you take her record into account, you take what she did throughout her campaign into account, and then the fact that she just can't endorse Bernie Sanders is kind of strange, confusing. It's just a no-brainer. It's common sense. So, thank you for watching this video, guys. How about you guys go in the comment section down below and talk about why you believe Warren is endorsing Bernie Sanders. She said that she would take some time to think. I get it. You drop out of the presidential race. You're probably distraught. You're probably upset. You could even be depressed. You're feeling a whole mixture of emotions for months to come. But even then, presidential candidates drop out, and they endorse other candidates. For example, Bill de Blasio, a progressive, dropped out, endorsed Bernie Sanders. Mike Gravel, another progressive, early in the race, you might not know who he is, dropped out and endorsed both Tulsi Gabbard and Bernie Sanders. But Warren, for some reason, just is endorsing Bernie Sanders. It's kind of odd, really. So, yeah, go down to the comment section down below, and please tell me why you personally believe she is not endorsing Bernie Sanders for president. See you guys later, and bye.